Hello, everyone. Today I'm with the amazing Kate McGuire, and she has a business called Converted Closet. And it's an amazing project. And she's going to tell you a bit more of her new project that she has on top of Converted Clothes. But basically, is if you have a piece of clothing in your wardrobe that you love so much, either because it's a family heirloom or it's a vintage piece you love, or something you spend a lot of money, but it just doesn't look good because either it's too big or too small or just doesn't fit right, then you must listen to today's episode. Welcome, Kate.
Hello,
How are
Janine. Good to
you?
be here. I'm so well.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you on today's podcast. And I would like you to ask you so many questions. So let me start with, what exactly do you do? Could you explain to us what's your business about?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I love to meditate, and I sit on my cushion first thing every morning. It's just the most important part of my day. And for some reason the other day, maybe it's just the environment we're in now, it just started thinking, what am I? It's like quite a deep question for first thing in the morning. But who am I? What am I doing? What's my purpose? And I thought, you know what, I'm a conversion designer. I'm a sustainable fashion activist, and I'm an entrepreneur. And I think I'm my overall is basically a kind of uplifter, inspirer. I feel like that's my kind of purpose. So there's multifold, but essentially I would say activist, designer. That's really it.
Awesome. Because when I went on your website, I check all your videos, and it's amazing the transformation you give to all these women. And the one I loved the most was Eleanor. So because it's like she had these pieces vintage that she loved very much, but they didn't look good on it. I don't know who will look good with that shape.
Yeah,
And then
right.
you did some transformation, you did it, and now she has two pieces that she can mix and match. And she was looking so great. She was looking gorgeous, something that was flattering to her figure, and she was happy and ready. I'm getting goosebumps just mentioning it. But there are so
Okay,
many other
that was
transformations.
that was the very, very first film I ever made. I've
Oh,
never been on camera. Yeah, I
oh my
know, right?
God.
I
You look
was
like a
amazing. I
natural.
made it was just I had like my film, I had crew of kind of students, like 18-year-olds, and we were like in this tiny flat moving suitcases from one side to the other because we kind of only had like I think I had one camera. We had to, I mean, it was just like, if you could have seen what went on behind the scenes. But it just goes to show that the emotion, it didn't really matter what was going on. It was all about what we could create and how we could make Eleanor feel. The power of transformation was just palpable. It was so exciting. It didn't really matter what it looked like. It happened to look really good, and we were like, okay, let's make another one of these. But yeah, it was a really fun experience watching somebody light up like that.
Yes. And also, like, another one that really was surprising was the woman with the grandmother. I can't remember her name. With the grandmother, beautiful
Oh,
piece of clothing.
Victoria.
Yes,
Yeah.
that you made
Woo!
a sweat. That was amazing transformation. It looks so fancy and so particular because you do things and you make them so special. And you every time you seem to catch the character, the personality of the person. How do you do that?
So do you mean the person that I'm converting,
Yes.
yeah. Well, maybe that's a bit my background. I was a headhunter, so I was in banking and then I moved into headhunting, and I think probably just a bit of who I am as well. But I do feel I can kind of read people. I think I get a sense of who they are and what their natural edges and limitations are and kind of who they want to be. But that involves a conversation. You have to get to know somebody when you're doing a conversion. I'm just not one of those people who comes along and goes, okay, so you've got a great waist, you need to wear this, you need to wear that. That just doesn't work as far as I'm concerned, because how can I possibly know what makes somebody feel good in what they're wearing? It's innate. It's working with somebody, and I like to push people to their edge. Everybody has an edge. And I hear a lot, oh, I can't wear that, or I'd love to be able to wear that, I just can't. Or I think people always, I get the impression that people feel that they'd like to express themselves more than they're confident enough to do through their clothes. So I find that really fun, that challenge, to kind of take them to a place where they maybe wouldn't have done, and then let them just light up and be like, oh my God, this is kind of where I want to go. It's power. There's power in that. So it's a joy to be part of that process.
I absolutely agree. I have found myself that when I feel brave and happy, it's so easy to wear something that will attract attention. That this is my personality, that is out of there's something original and out of something weird maybe, or something just very colorful. And when we feel lack of confidence, we tend to dress like everybody else so we can merge in. It's easier to, I find that clothing is a very way to show up in the world, and how we show up can tell a lot about our personality. And it's easier to wear clothes that may be black and blue, that make you go like, I can merge with everybody else, so don't look at me, don't. But sometimes we like to have that thing, and when we can wear something that is our personality, that feels so amazing, that is like, this is me, take it or leave it. I love that.
Yeah, I think it's about feeling good about who you are. Basically, that's all, that's all we really want, isn't it? To feel good about who we are, and that clothing is our first impression that we make. It's the first impression we make to ourselves when we look in the mirror, and we live in a very visual world. So I think for me, people say to me, God, why do you put makeup on every day and you dress up, and I just think, well, why wouldn't I? Like, I can have a better day because of that. For myself, I can look in the mirror and feel like I've been put together. I can go outside down to the shop and bump into anyone I know and just feel good about how I'm presenting myself. And I believe that, the outsides and insides are so intrinsically linked that, I can help my insides by just feeling put together on the outside, and the same goes for the other way.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And as a mindset and behavior expert, I can confirm that it's been scientifically proven that what we wear affect our moods, also colors.
So what can you talk about that? I'm really curious.
Basically, it's like they say, for example, that we should prepare the clothes the day before, in a moment we are feeling good. Because if we prepare them in the morning, we're going to go with the mood, which is always usually like, I'm feeling so grumpy, I need to go to work, and you're going with the safe options. So you will go with the gray, blue, black, blah, blah. Instead, if you prepare the clothes and you're diligent enough to wear those clothes that you prepared when you are feeling in a good mood, most likely you're going to feel good. Because it's like colors, for example, make you feel more happy.
Just a vibration, isn't it?
Yes. And also, I guess when you look in the mirror, it's like you're wearing some red or bright yellow. It's like, colors do affect our moods. In fact, there are people who work with color therapy,
Yeah.
And so it's absolutely something that works. And also, as you said, you like to dress up every day, because I can't see anybody wearing old leggings with holes and being happy. It's like, that's something, you're wearing old clothes with holes and stuff. How can you be like, oh, I'm feeling great, but I have holes in my leggings?
Well, I will slightly challenge that, because I think this is really interesting. I find this is crunchy for me. Just to take your holes in the leggings thing. Okay, so I think we're living in the whole mindset shift is changing so much. And I think we're moving into a time where if like holes in leggings can be celebrated and be cool. And I think that's all part of a movement that I feel I'm into. Obviously, we know I'm all about creating high-end pieces because I want to elevate the movement and appeal to the people at the top of the fashion chain, because that's how it infiltrates. But it's really interesting, because I would have said that, I would have agreed with you like, a few years ago, and now I'm like, honestly, the first thing that came into my head was, oh my God, I'm so cool. I've kept these leggings and I've worn them so much that they've now got holes in them. Do you know what I mean?
I like that.
Interesting. It's
I
like a badge of
see.
honor.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I do have a pair of leggings that I kept that are hot fuchsia, very nice, and they have two holes on the knee because one of my dogs was a puppy. She liked to pull my legs through the leggings. So as I miss my dog so much, they're with Dex abroad, and I miss them so much. That is, whenever I wear those leggings, I miss her, and it reminds me, oh, that was a happy moment of my life. But I'd never wear them outside. But
But how about, could you do something to convert them into something else? Or could you, okay, this might sound a bit naff, but this came into my head. Like, I'm thinking kind of Gucci kitsch. Like, there are so many incredible kind of little badges that you can buy now on Etsy and eBay, and like tiny little sequin doggy patches. And I mean, it sounds naff, but if the leggings are black and then you find a little black dog, it's just kind of, to me, if I see that, I just think that's cool. Like, it's a very personal expression, and I really admire that in anybody. It doesn't really, to me, it doesn't necessarily matter what it looks like. Like, but if they're wearing leggings and they're happy and they've got this like little, like, you could cover up the hole if the hole offends you and just put something else that's irrelevant, and just team them with like an ultra cool blazer and a pair of, I mean, it's really bizarre what you can do when you use other things to elevate. So, but think around holes. There are all sorts of things you can do with a hole. Anyway, I'm going to go off on a tangent on doggy patches now, which wasn't where I was going to go. But yeah, I think within there's always an opportunity for conversion, always.
I love that. While you were saying about the thing about Etsy, I was thinking about a book I listened some time ago, Marie Kondo, Spark Joy, that she say, if you love something that is broken, keep it, make something else with it.
Yeah, a belt. I mean, honestly, leggings make amazing belts.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, because it's already elastic.
And not naff ones. I'm not like talking about, sticker, that looks really homemade. Doesn't have to look homemade. It's the way you do it. If you cut the leg off, you could cut a strip off, you could double side it, you could interface it, you could put a really amazing gross grain ribbon pleat along both sides, you could buy a vintage buckle on Etsy, and then just put it all together, or an amazing brooch, put it all around you, and then fasten it at the back with a brooch. But just that, it's just about getting creative with things. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
You're looking like stunned. I'm not sure.
No. I'm like, I love creativity, and I'm like, I'm not very creative, but I love this concept that I never thought about that. That's amazing. But can I ask you, how did you manage to get from headhunting in banking, which is not very creative, to become a creative where you revamp clothes? What's your...
Well, first of all, I just have to, I'm being a bit challenging this morning. I don't know why, but I think it's interesting, stimulating conversation. I really believe that every human being is innately creative. Like, we are all, to be human is to be creative. And I think we're all creative in different ways. And we sometimes judge people for being, if they're artistic, then they're creative. But I see accountants are creative with numbers. Everybody's creative in their own world. If you start analyzing how clever you are and manipulating things, that's creativity. So you can translate that way of thinking, and I'm really passionate about, I really want to kind of get everybody feeling creative and just tapping into the beginning. Maybe you don't see yourself as a creative person, but you are. So I think there's like, get in touch with the smallest part of you. Identify something very small where you are a bit creative, like, I choose my earrings every morning, and I'm quite good about making sure that I wear the belt, or I like to match my shoes with whatever. Okay, so you start there, and then you start really celebrating that bit about yourself. you will find that you start feeling increasingly creative. You have to start celebrating the small bits and the rest will follow. That's just a tip. So how did I start this? So in short, I have, and I don't know why, I have an extraordinary love for clothes. And I think it might have come about because I think I've always had it, but when I was younger, I had a problem with food and my body. I had all sorts of body image issues, and I could never really feel good about the way I looked. I didn't like the way I looked in any clothes. And so I would convert them to sometimes just style conversions, like everybody does. But I knew how I wanted to look, and I was very specific, and I never wanted to look like anyone else, but I felt restricted because I didn't want to draw attention to parts of my body, but I wanted to look like I had style. And so there was always this line, and I think probably I became a bit of a scientist in that art. There's a sort of oxymoron there. An artistic, well, there we are. No, a creative scientist. That's exactly what I've just said.
I love it.
So yeah. So I think that happened. And I went into look at the path where we are now, and I for my journey, because I'm a commercial person and I love industry, and I really commerce and business. And so I'm sure if I'd have kind of always followed the artist.
Oh, I lost you.
There we are.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yes,
okay.
I can see you now.
Okay, I lost you for a second. Just now you are.
I know.
Perfect.
And now I'm going to turn it this way. So that's it. That's better.
Okay, that's better. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not sure I would have ended up in the place where I feel like I can have the greatest impact that I want to have on the planet if I hadn't come down a more commercial, route, a drier route. And I did always connected to my love for fashion. I was working in a bank, and I remember before kind of leopard print pony skin became popular, I would be wearing these pumps around the trading floor. And I remember such a drama queen, but I remember kind of styling myself with I remember honestly my hair in a great big bun, and just like a dark red lip and like a slick eyeliner. I just going into every morning I would create myself as somebody else, with a load of bankers. They'd just been like, what this woman's doing, I don't know, but I enjoyed it. For me, it was part of the fun. It we were talking about it elevating your mood. I just really enjoyed it. Nice. So that's how I kept my creativity in there. And then Converted Closet started after I had my child, and I realized that I started to learn about the sustainable fashion industry, and I realized I thought everyone converted their clothes. I just genuinely thought everyone was out there converting their clothes. Nice thing to do, isn't it? And realized that actually they weren't. And then I started putting two and two together and realized that first of all, I can't use the word upcycling because that just sounds like recycling, and that sounds like plastic bottles, and I'm not wearing anything upcycled. I'm a lover of very high fashion, so I thought, right, well, let's just rebrand it as conversion, and then it's immediately cooler. And then oh look, this movement actually addresses the two biggest issues in the fashion industry, which are consumption and waste, at the same time. That's a bit of a no-brainer. And so it's now just become my life's mission to make that commercial, because I really think once we start making sustainability commercial, we're already beginning to do it, but I think that's what I'm really excited about doing. So that's now what Converted Closet and conversion has become.
Awesome. Because just last night I happened to watch a bit of the Great British Sewing Bee, and it looks amazing. Brilliant. That program, they take patches and they make some.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing. I never knew about that program, but just before our interview today, the episode was saying, the guy was saying that at the present moment, there are enough clothes to dress the next 6 generation of people. So if you want to watch the replay, today is the 28th of May, I think. So yeah, 28th of May was last night's episode, and the program is called The Great British Sewing Bee. 6 generation of people right now, and we keep producing clothes. It's crazy, and they end up, most of them, in the landfill.
Yeah, it's something like 87% fiber input for clothing gets burned or landfill. So it's I've just always liked these stats. 70% of materials used in fashion are brand new, and at the end of their life, 75 to 80% end up in landfill. So, you know, what we forget is that every piece of new fashion we buy is basically the product of natural resources from our planet, of which there are a limited amount. And when we put it into landfill, which we have to, like 75 to 80% of the time, because that's what happens, and we can't recycle it yet. The tech's not quite there for most of it. That's like, we're then polluting our planet with it. So we reap all the natural resources, we wear it a few times, and then we dump it in the planet. And then we do, and there are billions of people doing that all the time. And every second, an enormous truckload of textiles gets dumped on. There you go. That's what's happening. And what, you know, conversion is like, well, we're going to take all that dead resource, because people wear 20% of their clothes in their wardrobe. So the clothes you're talking about are mostly in people's wardrobes. They're obviously in charity shops as well, but we're all guilty. We take every resource, the clothes that are already mixins of clothes, which are effectively meters of perfectly good fabric. And instead of dumping them into landfill where they pollute our planet, we turn them into an economy. And we get people using them and creating fantastic new original fashion, which saves people from going out and sucking the planet for new resources. Oh, it's just, but you know what I really believe? It's only going to take off when it becomes ultra cool and everyone's doing it, and the top of the fashion chain are doing it. You know, and we got it's at the moment, I really still think upcycling is a bit of a dirty word, and that's why I just can't even use it. My job is, part of my job is to help to make this movement cooler than Balenciaga. I will be happy when people are like, I'm wearing conversion, not Balenciaga.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Balenciaga, I'm king.
But that's the thing. I believe that I was guilty of overbuying stuff in the past. I was not feeling good with myself, or whenever I felt empty, I would buy clothes and bags. And that was a mindset problem. When I work on my self-confidence, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't need stuff. And it's actually what I really admired when my granddad passed away. We went through all him and my grandmother's stuff. They kept everything with so much care. They had the clothes very well kept. They still had the cutting board that we saw in the old pictures of when my mom was like 8, and they still kept the same cutting board. There was a care for things, and things were made even better. Nowadays, when you wash a t-shirt, after the first time it becomes shorter, and things are made fast. And I believe in the past things were made better and they were made to last. Now it's like, buy more. But as I say, if we make this cool, we can change. And it's always start from someone, and then it's like a domino effect. Like, since I've been into, I had no idea, me, Janine, I can make a small change in the world. I had no idea. But actually, these companies understand money. So if we stop giving our money, this is a fake 500 euros is a specimen. But if this is what they understand, before, supermarkets were not doing organic till we started to want organic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if we all raise our voices and say we want to get less clothes but better quality and they last, then the companies need to either make us happy or do something else.
I agree with you, and I think there's a way of speeding that up, because honestly, I know that there are all these stats out there, and I think is it Generation Z? I think it's the kids. They are, saying en masse they just they're looking for it all. Of course they should be able to have the fashion they want in a completely sustainably. But I think there are many generations that aren't quite there in their thinking, and I also think when push comes to shove and you really want that fashion fix, it's still like, okay, I think we have to make it incredibly easy for people, so there's really no choice. Like, it's basically the same choice, you're going to do the right thing or not. And then I do think we have to make it cooler. So I don't think we can rely on people from the goodness of their hearts wanting to do the right thing. I just don't think that the masses are there yet with it. I'm moving to America in August, and I'm gonna love America, but I think there's a lot of work to do there. Like, we forget how ahead we are in our thinking in Europe, and they don't even know. They don't, like, most people don't even know that Rent Runway is a huge company in America now, and obviously it's a much more sustainable way of consuming fashion because you're wearing it once and giving it back. But most people just are wearing Rent the Runway because it's affordable, they get a bigger choice of wardrobe, it's convenient, great. And then you say, oh, it's really sustainable, and they're like, oh, excellent. So I think it's the same with sustainable fashion. You've just got to make it cooler.
Yeah.
You've got to make it a badge of honor. You've got to and actually give people even better fashion. You have to give them better fashion than they can get from the shops. And I think conversion does that as well, because you always get offcuts. When you convert something, you get pieces of fabric, and you can make bespoke accessories with them that you cannot buy in Zara. You can't buy like a matching band or a really cool cuff that you can wear with your summer dress, like a strip of fabric, and you can't make laces for your shoes out of strips of fabric that you've had left over from a skirt. There are so many cool things, but when you go outside and you wear one of those little things, that sets you apart. Well, for me, you know what? It's all about how we feel inside. When I wear a little accessory that I've made, I get, lots of people are like, oh my God, that looks really cool. But more than that, I feel like people are like, it's like people can't understand how that happened, because it's like, how did she get that? Like, that must be a really special piece of clothing because it came with its own skinny scarf. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And your experience, how much of our wardrobe in a percentage we use?
The statistics are, I'd like to be able to do my own research, but I hear it all the time. I've done lots of research. It's 20% we wear.
I believe
on
that.
Average.
I think I'm guilty of that.
During this time, during COVID-19, I think I would probably say 1%.
Yes.
I mean, God, we're not wearing any of it right now.
Yes.
The stretchy part we're wearing.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how many of us will have problem to fit in the jeans. They're starting to get too tight for me, so I think I need to be more careful and break my relationship with the fridge. But
you'll be introducing more people soon.
Yeah, but you were saying about the project you have to start to rent clothes. Would you like to tell more about that? That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm working with the UK's #1 rental company, which is My Wardrobe HQ, and they effectively rent clothes from lovely wardrobes to people, and I think it's a really great business model. so what I've decided to do is to create a collection of converted clothes exclusively for them, that at the moment you can buy on you can buy the clothes that you rent on My Wardrobe. So you have an option to buy something if you rent it and you love it. I feel with my collection that I don't really want anyone to buy it, because if they buy it, the chances are it's then going to go and sit in their cupboard again. So only rental. And then I probably, from my history, which I talked about, with my relationship with my body, I just still can't believe that designers don't cater for women over a size 12. And so what I've decided, I've teamed up with a company who are going to be producing patterns of everything I make. So you will be able to click to rent, and if it doesn't fit you, you can click to download a pattern of that garment in anything from a size 6 through to a 20. And they actually do 24, which I just think is incredible. And I just think that for me is just brilliant, because then I'm going to encourage people to make the garment, to go to a dressmaker, get it made. It's still going to cost you probably less than buying something special. Make it out of clothing that you already have, or go to charity shop. You just need to, that will give you quantities and how much you need, and the type of fabric consistency that you're going to need for that particular garment, and then go and get it made up. And the great thing about conversions is that very often, you already have shoulders in place, you already have front and the back to a garment. So it's just a question of tweaking it rather than remaking the whole thing from scratch, which does make it a lot more economic as well. But then of course there's no waste, because I'm not holding any stock. And I just feels like it feels like a really good way forward. And also I think I'm in an advantageous position where my designs are my intellectual property, and I tweaked what I had, but it's still original. And I have no interest in holding on to my designs. I want to share them, because I want to get clothes worn. I want people, if it's another way of getting people wearing the clothes in the back of their wardrobes, bring it on, have what you want.
Awesome. That's amazing. And I love your passion and your inspiration and fire you have inside. And you can get this also from the videos, when you help these women to find their thing that makes them feel so good about themselves, because finally they can wear the piece they love. And also I was very surprised when you said I can be creative as well. So everybody can be creative. I never thought about a person being like into numbers. I'm very bad with numbers. So. But even accountant can be creative, yeah, because they create stuff with numbers. And I'm going to look for my creativity side.
You know what we should do? We should look up. I've got a dictionary. How funny is that? While you're talking another question, I'm just going to look up the definition of creativity. This is the lovely thing about doing a podcast from home, because creative, involving the use of imagination to create something. Imaginative, innovative, experimental. Okay, creator, a person or thing that creates something. A producer, author, designer, deviser, originator, inventor. I just think, so let's just go right back to the involving the use of imagination to create something. Like, we create our lives, don't we? We're choosing all the time. Everything is a choice. That's creative. So I think we just need to disband that whole fallacy of no, I'm creative or I'm not. We are all creative.
I love that. I thought I was a bit more dull than I thought. But yes, it's true. We create our realities every moment, and also, yes, I'm creative when I cook, because I never follow recipe books. Maybe sometimes I use them as an idea, but so yeah.
What?
As well.
And what, are you kidding me? So oh my goodness. Just apply that to fashion, you'll be fine.
But see, you have this attitude that you want people to feel good. You have this gift that is amazing. And you can see it in the women in the video. You can see in your interaction. You care for people. You can see that. And it's amazing how you want us to feel better with our clothing that we love, because we spend much money on that. And so how somebody can reach out to you? like you have a beautiful Instagram profile and a beautiful website. I will share the links in the description.
Yeah, great.
Of the podcast. But how can people?
That's a good question. The good news is I've just taken on an assistant, so I'm now going to be posting consistently on Instagram because I've got so much going on. I haven't been, and I really need to be. I want to be. I've got lots of films made, so I've now got somebody who's taking that over. So that's really good news. So I get lots of DMs on Instagram, and actually what's been absolutely gorgeous over this period of lockdown is that people have been sending me videos, DMing me videos of themselves in clothes. It's funny because actually it started off with people sending me like a picture of a dress hanging up. Like I'd have one here and it'd be like, take a picture, send it to me going, got any ideas for my dress? And I'm like, well, I have to see it on you. I can't, like, what are you talking about? So funny to be like, well, if you just put it on for me and let me just have a look at what you're looking at, and then what do you like? I find myself asking this question all the time. So tell me what you like about it. Tell me what elements you like and what elements you don't. And what's your, you just got to get to know people, and then I can say, okay, well, think about this. So I'm writing a book. I think the books are going to be amazing. I've got one for men, one for women, one for converting kids' clothes, and then we're doing a conversion junior, so a book for kids to use to convert their stuff. And that's really exciting for me because it's giving people maybe like you who don't feel creative but actually are like it's like a recipe book for beginners, and it enables you to design and redesign clothes in a way that you get to sort of see them before you take them and get them made, which is really important. I draw I draw it out really before I convert it, because I can't, if every designer will say the same thing, they all have to draw it out. It's in their heads, but until they actually can visualize it, even in drawing form, you can't tell whether you really like it, and you don't want to go to the expense of making it up and then it not being good. So I don't want people to do that. I would like to show them how easy it is to get to a point where, and there's an app that goes with it, so you can do it through an app and you can drag the lines to just change a garment. So that's, the book is really important. I can't remember why I'm on that, but I'll just quickly say, and the other thing that I think is really important is, how do you find people around you who can convert? And that's another thing I'm making really easy for people.
How do you do
that? That's in development, and I've got a proof of concept coming out in 8 weeks, and that's going to be amazing. That's going to be a game changer. I'm so excited about that. So I can't remember what the original question was, but I went off on the book. No, never mind.
I
there we are. It was
yeah, because also your idea is going to make also artisans get back to work, because there are so many people that love to do work clothes or shoes or bags, and instead they're doing something else because that's not a big job right now. So artisans are very few, but instead, when everybody with us will make our clothes tailor-made and shoes fixed instead of buy a new one, artisans will blossom again as they used to.
Exactly. So I'm giving them a way of being able to do that.
That's
and
amazing.
Joining it all together. Yeah, we'll have to do another podcast when this comes out.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah,
I would love
really
that.
Cool.
Yeah, and also I used to live in Uganda for a few years, and that's where I started to be intrigued by the idea of conversion. Like, they had bags that when the handles get all dirty or ruined, they will just put some nice piece of fabric. They will patch clothes, like a pair of jeans with nice, they are very creative, because that's what they do.
Because they have to be.
Yes, because they use the resources they have. But I think we have lost a bit of that. We buying stuff already made. It's a bit lazy, but it's easier. However,
it's super lazy. But that's, you're right. I mean, it's the issue is the issue of what comes back. Consumption drives supply. It's just like this great big. It's going to be. I think we have to kind of brace ourselves for a little bit of. When change happens, it's a bit unfamiliar, and I suspect that the industry is going to wobble a bit because of embracing a new way of doing things. But that's healthy. I really feel that that's how we move forward and we develop new ways of being. Just support the people who to find other ways, like more sustainable ways of doing what they're doing, because there is always a more sustainable way of doing what you're doing. It's just, or just really believe that. But I think that that's part of it, laziness. So, but again, like I was saying, we can't tell people to not do it. Like, I'm sorry,
No, it needs to be something that I think blossom with
to that.
time.
Like Westwood's message is, you know, it's great, but well, I want that dress. I'm gonna buy it. I do that. You know, if I do that, I'm sure other people are doing that too.
But then again, we don't need to be one of us to do the things perfect. We need a million of us doing things imperfectly. So it's not that we need to go all now, no more buying clothes, just buy less and buy
Yeah,
something that you
100%.
know you're going to wear at least 40 times instead of
Yeah.
5. And also I've noticed that the industry of fashion is like to push you to buy stuff that doesn't even suit you. It is like there is no guidance or say this looks good on this kind of body shape, this doesn't. So it's like as long as you buy and then you arrive home, it's like I don't actually look that good with this, and then you stop wearing it. But there is no guidance because I think they don't want you
But
to
it's
buy
not
the
in
right
their
thing.
interest. Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
It.
Exactly. But yeah, today's talk is not about do not buy anymore from evil company. Just buy less and convert your clothes you already have. And today you have taught us how many ideas we can do with a whole pair of leggings and stuff. So it's totally possible.
Well, I want to make it possible for people to be able to buy converted clothes very easily, because that's then you're actually helping, you're regenerating the planet through your purchase.
Yeah.
So for me, that's when it becomes interesting, when you're consuming fashion and helping the planet at the same time, a regenerative industry. That's the most interesting thing for me. Like the circular economy is certainly where the fashion, the primary fashion industry is wanting to get itself, thank God. But to create a regenerative economy is the dream, and that's my dream, just putting it here right now.
Yeah, and my dream is to make people's life feel okay with less is more and a simpler life, because I learned the hard way that buying and filling our houses with stuff is not what makes us happy. I thought, oh, with that jacket, with that phone, I will be happy. With that car, I will be happy. And happiness is something that we need to find within ourselves. Everything else is a distraction. And stuff is beautiful, but I just want to buy only stuff that I love and are beautiful, instead of just buying something, oh, it's on sale. I hope I will never do that. Oh, it's cheap, I will buy it. Because also when we buy something cheap, when we wear it, it's like we don't love it. So how can a t-shirt that is was on sale, is the wrong color, but was cheap, how can that make us feel amazing? And so it's again the mindset of wearing things you love that makes you feel good about yourself, and stop feeling things just because you feel empty somewhere inside. It's like, and inside you're looking for distractions, like, oh, I need to buy a new phone, no.
You're talking about a lot of different concepts. You're right. I mean, that is I think that's why I'm really interested in how the world's going to look post COVID, because I think it has definitely made a lot of the people in my life a lot more mindful than they were. And I think that's the key. It's just really just taking the time to observe what you've got. And I think so much of the time we're just not in the moment. We're there, and we're thinking that beyond there is where we want to get, because then we'll be happy. But of course, you know, all the great philosophers and great thinkers have said it's got nothing to, there is no destination, it's all about the journey. So we're on the journey here and we're having a good time. Come on the journey, whoever's listening. And yeah, contact me, just email. I think emails on Instagram, but I will be making it much easier to get hold of me. But yeah, I love hearing from people, and I'm always interested in helping where I can. If anyone gets stuck with something they want converting, I love looking at stuff like that.
Yeah. And as you mentioned about COVID, one theory I agree with is that this virus has really make us visible that what happens down there is not me, it doesn't apply. It's like if somebody very far away can get sick, you can get sick too. It's like illnesses, as any illnesses, they don't look into your gender, age. It's like it's something that make us all human, and we are all alike. There is no better or worse. There is no superiority, inferiority. It's just we are all one. And if I watched a documentary once about China, and this woman was talking about the fashion industry, and the rivers in this town, which I don't remember the name, get a color, and you can know which is the next season fashion from the color of the river. One time is red, the other one is blue, and that water in the river is going to end up in the sea, and the sea then is going to at some point pollute the fish we eat and the water where we swim. So we are all one, we are all connected. So
I've just got the 20% of wastewater in the world comes from the fashion industry through dyeing and treatment processes. 20%. I said that, I mean, we're a blue planet. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, 20 looks.
And now I know I interviewed someone, an amazing guy from a company called Colorifics, and they have developed a sustainable dye made from a DNA of parrot feathers that is cheaper than chemical dye and can be used by the same components, the same systems and machinery, and you know, they just need to be able to scale that up, but they can grow it in a lab. So there are things on the way. There are really cool things on the way. I really think we have to trust to a certain point, and also look to the future. Don't look at the past, look to the future.
Yes, because there is a few problems right now, and there are so many creative minds that are stepping up, like you. It's like, actually we can do fashion in a slightly different way. And then this guy is studying how to do sustainable coloring, and it's all our minds, our creative minds, that everybody is creative. We can figure out how to make things better. And if everybody can do 1% better, we need 100 of us to make 100% better.
100%, I'm with you.
That's my maths, even if I'm bad at maths. Kate, was truly amazing to have you today. You're so inspirational and amazing, and I can't wait to have you again on on my next podcast when you have your book, or whenever you have something new. Please let me know, and I will be honored to have you again as a guest on my podcast.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure. It's my pet subject. So thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I really loved it very much. Thank you everyone for listening. Bye.